No! Stop him!
He's escaping.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're setting aside the usual policy papers and academic texts. Instead, we're diving into something quite different, a collection of documents. Think journals, letters, even newspaper clippings.
Exactly. And when you put them all together, they form this incredibly detailed, almost forensic account of, well, an attempted invasion.
We're talking about the Dracula papers.
That's right. Individually, these papers might seem like records of, just business trips gone wrong or maybe some localized spooky events. But when you synthesize them chronologically, thematically, you start to see the bigger picture.
You see the Count himself, his powers, his plans, and the absolutely monumental effort it took to stop him. So our mission today is to piece together this investigation chronologically. We want to show how these everyday records, Mina Harker's typing, Dr. Seward's phonograph diary, became the crucial evidence.
Yeah, evidence that allowed this small group of, let's face it, ordinary people to track down and, eliminate this ancient evil.
It's fascinating.
And what's really unique, I think, is the structure the compiler Mina Harker, we later learned, gave these documents. She explicitly states she removed needless matters.
To let the simple facts shine through, right?
Precisely. And she emphasizes they're exactly contemporary, written in the moment, so there's no distortion from memory later on.
It strips away the legend, the folklore.
It does. And you're left with this chilling history told through, legal documents, medical notes, travel logs. It makes the horror feel so systematic, almost administrative, like the Count's ultimate failure was, in a way, bureaucratic.
That structure really is chilling. It puts you, the listener, right there with the characters, experiencing that slow dawning horror alongside them. So let's start where the paper trail begins. Jonathan Harker's initial trip into Transylvania, right, Harker, the young solicitor, he's our first guide, and his early journal entries, they're almost mundane, aren't they?
Oh, completely. He's complaining about the trains. The further east you go, the more unpunctual are the trains. Classic British tourists.
He's taking notes on the food, too.
Meticulously. The mamaliga, the implatata, paprika dishes. He even makes a note to get a recipe.
It's that perfect, rational, curious mindset. Document everything.
Exactly. And it's that very mindset that's about to be completely shattered. Because that normalcy starts getting tainted pretty quickly.
It starts with the Count's welcome note, doesn't it? That slightly off formal tone. Welcome to the Carpathians. I am anxiously expecting you.
Anxiously expecting you. It just sounds wrong.
Yeah.
And the locals certainly know it's wrong. Harker documents this immediately. The fear.
When he asks the innkeeper about Dracula.
Instant reaction. The man and his wife cross themselves. They refuse to talk about it.
And then the old woman pulls him aside.
Yeah, she's almost hysterical. Must you go? Oh, young hare, must you go? Just pleading with him.
And she doesn't just plead. She tries to give him protection. These folk remedies.
Where the crucifix, garlic, wild rose, mountain ash, things believed to ward off the evil eye.
So right away, Harker knows, or should know, this isn't just some eccentric nobleman he's dealing with. It's something else, something ancient and feared.
And yet, he continues. He gets on the diligence coach. He notes the scenery, the contrast between the blossoms and the stark gray rocks.
But the driver is rushing, almost frantic.
Feverish haste, Harker calls it. Like he's racing against time, or maybe racing away from something in the landscape itself. Desperate to get to the Borgo Pass.
And the Borgo Pass, that's where the Count makes his appearance, though Harker doesn't realize it at first.
Not immediately, no. He's met by this imposing black caleche, this carriage. The driver is tall, cloaked.
With those piercing red eyes?
Yes, and incredible strength. Harker notes the grip of steel when the driver helps him down.
But it's only later, reviewing his own notes, his documentation, that Harker connects the dots.
That's the crucial realization, isn't it? The Count was the driver.
And not just the driver. He saw him control the wolves.
Yes, with just a silent gesture. Only holding up his hand in silence. He commands the natural world, or at least the predatory parts of it.
So these early documents, they paint this picture of the Count. He's part elemental force,
Part meticulous planner. A predator, yes, but a calculating one. Almost like a CEO of horror.
His administrative side is really striking.
He really is. The documents show him studying England intensely. Books, maps. He wants to understand the whirl and rush of humanity in London.
He's practicing his English, that phrase, to know her is to love her. It sounds so wrong in this context.
It's reconnaissance, basically. He's not just looking for victims. He's studying the system he plans to infiltrate. He wants to master it.
And Harker, the solicitor, he sees this. He recognizes a fellow professional in a twisted way.
He literally writes that Dracula would have made a wonderful solicitor.
Because he anticipates everything. All the legal hurdles, the business details for buying the estate at Purfleet.
Think about the logistics of this invasion. It wasn't impulsive. He mastered English property law from afar. He organized the transport of 50 huge crates of his native earth.
And bought multiple properties across London, not just Carfax.
Right. Chixian Street, Jamaica Lane, Piccadilly, all secured legally, probably through intermediaries, setting up multiple operational bases.
It's less like a monster creeping in and more like a strategic deployment.
Exactly. A real estate mogul planning a hostile takeover.
So Harker gets inside the castle. The initial impression is grandeur, but that fades fast.
Very fast. The first really unsettling thing he documents is the lack of staff.
He sees the Count doing everything himself, making the beds, setting the table.
Performing menial offices, as Harker puts it, and he realizes there's no one else to do them. The Count's alone. He's hiding his isolation.
And then the layout of the place.
Doors everywhere. Doors, doors, doors everywhere, and all locked and bolted.
He charts his own confinement. He realizes it's not a home, it's a veritable prison.
His legal mind mapping out the bars of his cage.
The first truly supernatural confirmation for Harker comes during, of all things, shaving.
Such a mundane moment turned utterly terrifying. He's shaving, sees the Count approach in the mirror.
And realizes the Count casts no reflection.
Throws no reflect. That's the concrete physical proof. Something is fundamentally wrong here.
And the Count's reaction, pure fury.
He snatches the mirror, calls it a foul bauble of man's vanity, and just smashes it. One wrench of his terrible hand.
It's not just about hiding his nature, it's about asserting power, destroying the evidence.
A terrifying display of strength and his absolute intolerance for anything that reveals his true unnatural state.
But the experience that truly breaks Harker, that confirms the lethal danger, is the appearance of the three women.
Ah, the sisters. The undead phantoms.
Their arrival is documented with this eerie mix of sensuality and absolute dread.
They promise him kisses. Kisses for us all. But their breath. Harker describes it as honey sweet, with a bitter underlying the sweet. A bitter offensiveness as one smells in blood.
That sensory detail is horrifying. It links desire directly to death.
And the visual is just as stark. He sees a livid white face bending over me out of the mist. It's the first direct encounter with the feeding, the vampiric attack.
And it leaves him utterly shattered. Not just weak, but psychologically broken. He knows he's trapped with monsters. Okay, so Harker is imprisoned in Transylvania, documenting the source of the horror. Back in England, the story picks up through different documents. Diaries, letters.
And crucially, newspaper clippings. We shift focus to Lucy Westenra.
And her circle. Arthur Holmwood, Quincey Morris, Dr. John Seward.
Seward, who runs the asylum nearby, his records become incredibly important later.
We learn about Lucy's life just before things go wrong. She's popular, vibrant. She gets 3 marriage proposals in one day.
Which really underscores the tragedy of what happens next. It gives weight to the loss and motivates the men who try to save her.
Because she starts this rapid, mysterious decline. Mina is documenting this through Lucy's diary entries, and Seward through his medical notes.
And initially, it's baffling for Seward, the doctor. Lucy actually seems to gain weight. She has this lovely rose-pink color sometimes.
But she feels awful, weak, and worn out, filled with this vague fear.
And Seward eventually diagnoses it. Massive, unexplained blood loss. Repeatedly. With no apparent wound. It completely stumps 19th century medicine.
And there's the sleepwalking. Mina connects it back to that night on the cliffs in Whitby.
Yes, where Mina sees something that looked like a good-sized bird near Lucy's window. A dark shape. The first visual link, really, between Dracula's presence in England and Lucy's illness.
While Lucy is fading, another crucial piece of evidence literally washes ashore: the Demeter.
And this isn't just hearsay. It's reported directly in the Whitby newspaper, the Daily Graph.
The report itself is dramatic. A violent storm, then this ghost ship sailing into the harbor.
All sails set, completely unsteered, except by a corpse tied to the wheel.
The description is gruesome. Drooping head, which swung horribly to and fro.
It's chilling. And then there's the cargo manifest, mostly sand for ballast.
But also a number of great wooden boxes filled with mold consigned to a local solicitor.
There it is, the physical transport mechanism for Dracula's invasion. The earth from his homeland, essential for his survival.
And the ship's arrival isn't quiet. As soon as it hits the sand,
An immense dog leaps off the deck and vanishes towards the churchyard on the cliff.
Dracula's escape form.
And the immediate aftermath. A local dog, a mastiff, is found dead nearby. Throat torn out, belly slit open. The paper notes it manifestly had had a savage opponent. Direct physical evidence of the creature's arrival and violence.
But maybe the most terrifying document from the Demeter incident is the captain's log.
Found in a bottle, tied to his body. It's just this harrowing first-person account of the voyage descending into madness.
He records the crew disappearing one by one, growing paranoia, fear.
Until it's just him and the mate left.
Yeah.
And the mate tries to confront the entity.
Stabs at it with a knife.
And the knife goes right through. Empty as the air. That confirms they're dealing with something beyond the physical. Something that is and isn't there at the same time.
It's the captain's last act, tying himself to the wheel.
With something he dared not touch. Presumably his crucifix or rosary beads, fulfilling his duty to the last, even knowing he was doomed. It's incredibly brave, and it delivers Dracula's crucial cargo right into the hero's vicinity.
Meanwhile, Dr. Seward's asylum diary provides another angle on the Count's influence, through his patient, Renfield.
Ah, Renfield, the zoophagous patient. His condition is almost a grotesque parody of Dracula's nature.
Consuming life to gain life force. Flies, then spiders, then birds.
It's a hierarchy of consumption. And Seward meticulously documents Renfield's moods, how they fluctuate with the time of day.
He gets agitated before sunset, calm after. It mirrors Dracula's own patterns of activity.
Renfield is like a psychic barometer for the Count's presence and proximity.
And his demands escalate, don't they? He wants bigger victims, he asks for a cat.
Suggesting his own perceived power or need is growing as Dracula gets closer, more established in England.
Then there's that moment of ominous calm, when Renfield seems almost satisfied.
Yes. He tells Seward, life is all I want, and boasts about having friends who ensure he'll never lack the means of life.
He's acknowledging a connection, a pact, almost.
It confirms Dracula isn't just a physical threat, he's building a network, exerting spiritual and psychological influence. Renfield is his harbinger, his proxy, maybe even a potential recruit. The invasion is multifaceted, #tag 54D. The revelation and the necessary butchery.
So we have all these threads, Harker's imprisonment, Lucy's decline, the Demeter, Renfield's madness. But there's still separate pieces, until Dr. Seward brings in Professor Van Helsing.
Van Helsing is the catalyst. He's the one person with the breadth of knowledge, medical, historical, philosophical, and crucially esoteric to put it all together.
He arrives, takes one look at Lucy, and immediately diagnoses the problem, cutting through Seward's confusion.
Simple, massive blood loss, despite the lack of visible cause, and he insists on transfusions. Repeatedly.
Which is where Arthur, Seward, and Quincey Morris all literally give their blood to try and save her, forging that physical bond.
A bond of shared life force, which becomes incredibly significant later.
But Van Helsing's methods seem bizarre to the very rational Dr. Seward at first. Garlic flowers, crucifix.
Exactly. Seward is struggling. His scientific mind resists. Van Helsing has to actively persuade him, push him towards an open mind.
How does he do that? How does he break through that Victorian scientific certainty?
He uses analogy, a brilliant rhetorical strategy, actually. He points to things that exist but defy easy explanation within the known rules.
Like what?
Like people living extraordinarily long lives. Methuselah, Old Parr. Like toads found alive, sealed inside rocks for centuries. Giant spiders, blood-sucking bats, things on the fringes of the known.
He's basically saying, look, nature is weirder than you think. Your science doesn't explain everything.
Precisely. He's undermining the arrogance of assuming we know all the rules. His core argument, the absolute key, is when he tells Seward, I want you to believe in things that you cannot.
A direct challenge to scientific dogma.
It is. He argues that sometimes the explanation is supernatural, and refusing to even consider it means letting the monster win by default, simply because you refuse to believe it exists.
Once he's cracked open that door of belief, Van Helsing lays out the nature of their enemy, the Nosferatu.
Yes. He gives them the profile. It's like a threat assessment. Strengths and weaknesses.
And the strengths are terrifying.
Immense physical power, strength of 20 men. Ancient cunning, cunning of ages. Command over elements like storms, fog, thunder. Command over animals, rats, owls, bats, foxes, wolves.
He can change shape, become mist, vanish. How do you even fight that?
You focus on the weaknesses, which the documents also reveal.
The lack of reflection or shadow, Harker's observation confirmed.
Crucially, his power diminishes during daylight. And his geographical limitations, he needs his native Earth to rest and regain strength.
Those 50 boxes of Earth, identified on the ship's manifest as being for experimental purposes.
That mundane detail becomes their primary strategic vulnerability. The boxes are his lifeline, his anchor. Find the boxes, destroy them, and you corner him. They are his lairs.
But before they can go on the offensive, things get worse with Lucy. She dies.
But she doesn't stay dead. The transformation happens quickly. And reports start appearing in the papers, the Westminster Gazette this time.
About the blue fur lady.
Yes, this mysterious, beautiful lady luring children away at night. They're found unharmed, mostly, but with these 2 tiny pinprick wounds on their throats.
Van Helsing knows immediately what this means. Lucy hasn't found peace. She's joined the ranks of the undead.
And the stakes escalate dramatically. It's no longer about saving Lucy's life. It's about saving her soul and protecting others.
They have to confront her in her tomb. And the description of what they find, it's horrific.
Utterly. The documents describe the shift from remembered beauty to monstrousness. Her color becomes livid. Her eyes blaze with hellfire. Her mouth, once lovely, becomes this blood-stained open square, pure malice.
She's become the predator, lethal seduction personified.
And Van Helsing knows there's only one way to free her soul and stop her, what he calls the necessary butchery.
It's one of the most brutal yet necessary acts in the entire account, and the task falls to Arthur Holmwood.
The man who loved her, who wanted to marry her, he has to be the one to drive the stake through her heart.
An unimaginable act of love and sacrifice.
The documentation captures the horror of it, the horrid screeching, the violent rioting, but then suddenly peace.
Repose, the text says, and her body instantly crumbles to dust.
Confirming they've succeeded, they've destroyed the vampire, freed Lucy's soul, and in that moment, they change. They're no longer just victims or investigators.
They become hunters. #TagV, Counter-Strike, and the Great Hunt.
Right.
With Lucy's soul saved, the dynamic shifts entirely. They're now on the offensive, and the focus turns to Mina Harker.
Because the Count, likely enraged by losing Lucy and perhaps sensing their investigation closing in, retaliates directly.
He attacks Mina in her own room, Jonathan paralyzed beside her.
It's a horrific violation. He cuts his own chest and forces Mina to drink his blood.
Declaring her flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood, binding her to him.
To come to my call, he says. He's contaminated her, turned her into a potential spy, a beacon, a weapon against her own friends.
And the proof comes almost immediately. Van Helsing tries to protect her with a sacred wafer.
And it burns her forehead, leaves a physical red scar. Irrefutable proof of the demonic connection.
It raises the stakes again. Now they have a ticking clock. They have to destroy Dracula before Mina is completely lost to him.
But there's that incredible twist of irony. Dracula, in trying to control Mina, has actually given them their best weapon.
Her connection works both ways.
Exactly. Mina realizes she can be hypnotized, but only at specific times, just before sunrise and just after sunset. The times when Dracula's power is weakest or in transition.
And under hypnosis, she can access his senses.
She starts hearing what he hears. Water swirling, the creaking of wood, distant bells.
They realize he's escaping, moving his last refuge, that final box of Earth, by water.
Her psychic link becomes their tracking device. It's brilliant.
Meanwhile, the men are using Jonathan's meticulous notes from the castle, his records of the Count's business dealings.
To physically track down the other boxes of Earth across London, they confirm the locations.
Carfax, obviously. But also Chicksand Street in Mile End, Jamaica Lane in Bermondsey.
And that house in Piccadilly, the untenanted one with a stone front with a bow. Dracula had established multiple safe houses. Very strategic.
But when they raid the Piccadilly house, there's a problem.
A critical one. They expect to find 9 boxes delivered there. They only find 8.
One is missing. The last one. The one Dracula needs to complete his escape.
And that's when Renfield plays his final, tragic part.
He sees the men who are likely Dracula's agents moving the final box. He tries to stop them, shouting, "I'll fight for my lord and master."
He's mortally wounded in the process. But before he dies, he confirms it. Dracula got away with the last box, the one Mina was tracking.
So the hunt intensifies. They have to figure out how he's transporting it.
More investigation. They trace the shipping records. The box was put aboard a ship called the Tsarina Catherine.
A Russian vessel heading from Varna towards Galatz on the Black Sea coast.
From there, he used an agent, Emanuel Hildesheim, who hired a Slovak boatman, Petrov Skinsky, to take the box upriver, deeper into Transylvania.
And then Skinsky turns up murdered.
Dracula covering his tracks. Utter ruthlessness. eliminating anyone who could link him to the shipment.
This leads to the final plan. Van Helsing realizes they can't just follow one path. They need to cover all possibilities.
Speed is everything now. Time is all in all to us now, he says. So they split up. A four-pronged pursuit.
Arthur, Lord Godalming now, and Jonathan take a steam launch. They're going straight up the rivers, the Sereth and Bistritza, trying to intercept the boat carrying the box.
Flying a Romanian flag to hopefully speed things up, get priority passage.
Seward and Quincey Morris take horses, riding hard along the riverbanks.
Armed with Winchester rifles, ready for ambushes, Slovaks, wolves, whatever Dracula throws at them. They're the cavalry, the flank protection.
And then Helsing takes Mina directly towards the final destination.
I train to Veresti, then carriage towards the Borgo Pass. Back to where it all started for Harker. Mina's psychic tracking is their compass now.
But Mina, her condition is worsening, the mark on her forehead.
She knows she's running out of time. And this leads to perhaps the most profound moment of commitment from her.
She makes the men swear an oath.
A terrible promise. That if she becomes fully undead before they succeed, they will kill her. Stake through the heart, head removed, no hesitation.
She dictates the terms of her own potential execution to save them, and humanity. It's documented like a contract. Unbelievable courage.
Truly, so the race is on. All groups converging on Dracula's likely path back to his castle.
Mina's final hypnotic sessions are key. She's in the carriage, racing towards the pass.
And she reports the movement is slow now. Not water anymore. She hears cattle low far off. She hears the Swigeni, the Slovak gypsies Dracula employed, stamping above her.
He's on land. In a wagon. A lighter wagon.
They've transferred the box for the final leg.
And they're close. The documents describe this frantic convergence. The horsemen, the boat party, they all sight the wagon near the river.
The Sagani see them too. And they make a break for it, whipping the horses, racing for the sunset, trying to get the Count to the safety of his castle before night fully falls and his power returns completely.
It comes down to the last seconds before sunset. The Sagani fight to defend the box.
But the heroes break through. Jonathan Harker reaches the box, slashes his kukri knife.
Shears straight through Dracula's throat.
At the exact same moment, Quincey Morris, fighting on the other side, plunges his Bowie knife into the Count's heart.
A coordinated, fatal blow.
And the effect is instantaneous. The body doesn't bleed or linger, it just crumbles.
Crumpled into dust, gone.
But the documents note one final detail. On the face, just for a fleeting second as it disintegrated.
A look of peace. As if some ancient burden was finally lifted.
But the victory isn't clean. It comes at a terrible cost.
Quincey Morris, wounded in the final fight.
He dies right there, just as the sun sets. Having seen their success, but not surviving it. A true sacrifice. When you look back at the whole thing, it's really quite extraordinary. This ancient being, commanding supernatural forces, defeated, ultimately, by paperwork.
It sounds almost absurd, but it's true.
Mina's meticulous typing, collecting every journal entry, every letter. Seward's clinical phonograph diary, Harker's business notes, Van Helsing synthesizing it all.
It was the systematic documentation, the organization of information that allowed them to understand the threat and track him down.
Modern methods, technology, bureaucracy, shared knowledge overcame ancient cunning and power. It's a fascinating dynamic.
The final entry we have is from Jonathan Harker, writing 7 years later.
Yes, he notes they returned to Transylvania once and found that the land itself seemed healed. Every trace of the horror was blotted out.
They survived. They carry the memory, the documented proof in their files, but life moved on.
And there's a sense of continuity, of hope renewed. Their son,
named Quincey, born on the anniversary of Morris's death.
Keeping his memory alive. It reinforces Harker's final reflection in the notes, that the happiness they found afterwards was well worth the pain we endured.
It's a powerful ending. Which brings us to our final thought for you to consider. The documents paint Dracula not just as a monster, but as a brilliant strategist, a centuries-old entity planning a meticulous invasion.
Absolutely. He studied his target, mastered the necessary logistics, law, finance. He was preparing to infiltrate London, this teeming new land where life of man teems till they are like the multitude of standing corn.
His ambition was vast. He wasn't just looking for food. He was looking to establish a new kingdom, a new feeding ground on an industrial scale.
And his failure ultimately wasn't magical. It was logistical and tactical. He was outmaneuvered because the heroes shared information faster, coordinated better, and used his own need for his native soil against him.
So the thought to leave you with is this. What if he hadn't been stopped just then? What if he'd made it back to the castle with that final box? What if the pursuit had been just a day slower, allowing him to rest, regroup, and maybe learn from his mistakes?
Given his cunning, his patience, and the foothold he'd already established, what would the long-term consequences have been for London, for England, if this meticulously planned invasion had truly taken root? The Great Hunt wasn't just an adventure. It was quite possibly the prevention of an unimaginable catastrophe, documented just in time.